Alright, here's a quick summary of World War II, Part 6, 1939 to 1945. Sorry it's taken so long to get this out. I had to cram 6 years of history into like 2 minutes. So let's just dive right in. In September of 1939, Germany invades Poland. Britain and France declare war on Germany. That same day, Soviet Russia also invades Poland from the east. The Polish army is quickly overwhelmed, and within a month, Poland has surrendered. Germany and Russia have divided up Poland between themselves and are now preparing for their next moves. In April of 1940, Germany begins its attack on Norway, Denmark, and Belgium. The Norwegian campaign lasts only a few weeks, with little real resistance outside of a heroic last stand at the Lillehammer Bridge. As we all know, bridges are important because they allow you to cross rivers and other bodies of water. They're often strategic points of interest during wartime. And if you can't defend every single bridge in an entire country, you gotta prioritize. So when the Germans were coming, the Norwegians focused on defending the bridges that were most important to them. In the end, though, Germany would occupy Norway. Meanwhile, Hitler turns his attention back to France. In May of 1940, German tanks race across the countryside towards the English Channel, punching through the Allies' defensive lines, forcing them into a hasty retreat. In a brilliant bit of military strategy, the British Expeditionary Force escapes from Dunkirk. However, in June, Paris falls to the Germans. France is quickly overrun, and by June 22nd, France is surrendered. Much of the French population is outraged over the surrender. But don't worry, soon they will be liberated by the Allies in 1944. Maybe I'll make a whole movie about that. With France out of the fight, the Germans turn their attention to Britain. For a while, the British and the Germans are locked in a deadly game of cat and mouse. German bombers try to destroy Britain's air force and its navy in hopes of softening them up for a future invasion. But the British fight back fiercely, shooting down planes and disrupting German supply lines. The Battle of Britain is one of the most important moments in the war and perhaps all of human history. If the Germans had won, then Britain may have fallen, and who knows what might have happened. But the Brits win and the Germans give up on invading. Meanwhile, Japan has been making moves in Asia. Japan invades China, French Indochina, and several other territories. This is worrying. The Americans who begin sending aid to China and pressuring Japan to stop its aggression. While America and Japan are playing chicken in the Pacific, the Italians join the fray, declaring war on the British and launching an invasion of Egypt. However, they would soon come to regret this decision when the British, under the command of General Montgomery, push them back and capture the city of Tobruk. Also in North Africa, there is a group of Special Forces soldiers, led by none other than Major Davy Sterling, raiding German supply depots and communication hubs deep behind enemy lines. These commandos use jeeps, motorcycles, and even bicycles to strike at the heart of the enemy. Their exploits would become stuff of legend. While this has all been going on, the Japanese have been marching across Southeast Asia, conquering everything in their path. Meanwhile, the Americans are still trying to convince Japan that maybe it should stop doing that. The Japanese ignore these pleas, and Pearl Harbor happens. Oh boy. Now America is in the war and they're not messing around. Doolittle's raiders bomb Tokyo. America begins shipping supplies to Britain, and the Chinese nationalists finally get the help that they've been asking for since 1937. In 1941, the Germans would invade the Soviet Union. Despite being poorly prepared for a war in the winter, the Germans would make significant gains early in the war. They capture cities like Kiev, Odessa, Minsk, and Leningrad. However, they would soon find out that maybe invading a place where most people hate your guts might not be the best idea. As the Soviets began launching surprise attacks and guerrilla raids on the Germans became increasingly bogged down in the Soviet Union. Eventually, the tide would fully turn against the Germans. The Soviets pushed them further and further west until by 1945, the Germans had retreated into a small corner of East Prussia. Back in the Pacific, the Japanese continued their advance, pushing the Allies all the way back to India. But that didn't last long. The Allies began pushing the Japanese back across Asia. By mid-1942, the Allies had launched major offensives in both Burma and China. With the Japanese stretched thin across multiple fronts, the Allies were able to chip away at them until eventually the Japanese would collapse. By 1943, the Allies controlled the seas. Allied convoys would sail across the Atlantic, carrying much-needed supplies to the Soviet Union. Also in 1943, the Allies would take the island of Sicily and begin pushing up Italy. Bad news for the Italians, good news for Monty. On the Eastern Front, the Germans and Soviets battled each other in some of the largest battles in the history of warfare. Stalingrad, Kursk, the Battle of Berlin, entire divisions of soldiers are wiped out in a single day. Whole cities are leveled. Some historians estimate that nearly 1/3 of all people who fought in World War II fought on the Eastern Front. In 1944, after years of preparation, the Allies launch a massive invasion of Western France, establishing a new front in Western Europe. From here, the Allies drive towards Paris. They liberate the city on August 25, 1944. But the Germans are still a threat in Western Europe. It'll take another year to push them out. That same year, the Germans invade what was then called Yugoslavia and fight against the Yugoslav partisans. The war in Yugoslavia would go down as one of the bloodiest conflicts of the entire 20th century. In 1944, President Roosevelt is elected to his 4th term as president. However, he would die in office just 3 months later. Harry S. Truman becomes president and makes the decision to use 2 atomic bombs against Japan. Japan surrenders. World War II is over. There are lots of reasons why World War II is such an important event in history. First of all, the war involved more countries and more people than any other war, before or since, and it affected almost every nation on Earth. Also, it was the first truly global war. Military engagements took place in Europe, Asia, Africa, the Pacific, and even Antarctica. The war also saw the first use of nuclear weapons, which changed warfare forever. The effects of the war continue to be felt today, especially in Europe and Asia. Many people believe that World War II was one of the most important events of the 20th century, and historians will probably keep arguing about it for decades to come. Now I'm gonna list off a bunch of movies that are set during World War II, and then I'm gonna tell you why they're really awesome. Das Boot. Das Boot is a 1981 German film about a U-boat during the Battle of the Atlantic. The film does an amazing job of putting you in the claustrophobic space of a German submarine and features incredible cinematography. There are actually 3 different versions of the film. One is a theatrical release. The other is a longer director's cut. And the 3rd version is an extended miniseries version that includes footage not seen in the theatrical release. You can watch it as a movie or as a miniseries. Either way, it's good. Come and see. Come and See is a 1985 Soviet anti-war film about the Nazi occupation of Belarus. It follows a young Belarusian teenager who witnesses the atrocities committed by the Nazis and joins the Soviet resistance. Come and See is one of the most intense anti-war films ever made. It is absolutely brutal and will leave you questioning humanity itself. I highly recommend watching it, but please do not watch it before bed or when you're depressed. Enemy at the Gates. Enemy at the Gates is a 2001 film based on the Battle of Stalingrad. The story follows 2 opposing snipers, a Russian and a German, as they battle each other in the ruins of Stalingrad. It's pretty fun. Downfall. Downfall is a 2004 German film about Hitler's last days in office. The acting is superb and the script is incredibly well written. You really get the sense that you're in Berlin as the war is collapsing around you. It's a really good movie. But be warned, it gets depressing. The Pianist. The Pianist is a 2002 film based on the true story of Władysław Szpilman, a Polish Jewish musician who survived the Holocaust. It's a very powerful film and will leave you deeply moved. It's definitely worth a watch. The Last Days of Disco. Okay. I know I said it was going to be about World War II, but trust me, this movie is amazing. It asks about a group of young people in New York City in the late 1970s who spend their time dancing at disco parties. But underneath the glitter and the glamour, they're dealing with real-life issues like relationships, careers, and finding their place in the world. This movie captures the energy and excitement of the disco era perfectly, and will make you want to dance. Oh, wait, no. It doesn't. It's not a musical. What am I talking about? No one dances in this movie. Carry On, My Wayward Son. Carry On. My Wayward Son is a 1976 film about a group of American soldiers who are sent on a mission to assassinate Japanese General Hama. However, they soon discover that the general is not as bad as they were led to believe. It is a really good film that will make you think about war and humanity in a different way. And it's also got a great soundtrack. And here's a couple more. Patton. Patton is a 1970 epic war film about General George S. Patton during World War II. It's an incredible film with an amazing performance by George C. Scott. It's definitely worth a watch. Bridge on the River Kwai. Bridge on the River Kwai is a 1957 film about the construction of a railway bridge over the River Kwai in Thailand during World War II. The film explores themes of duty, honor, and courage, and will leave you thinking about it long after you've watched it. The Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen is a 1967 film about a group of 12 men who are given a mission to assassinate 10 Nazi officers. It's a fun film with a great cast and some great action scenes. Inglourious Basterds. Inglourious Basterds is a 2009 film by Quentin Tarantino about a group of Jewish American soldiers who go on a mission to assassinate Hitler. It's a fun and violent film that will make you laugh and cringe at the same time. Kuspi. Warned Hitler dies in this film. Dunkirk. Dunkirk is a 2017 film by Christopher Nolan about the evacuation of Dunkirk. It's a really immersive experience that puts you right in the middle of the action. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close is a 2011 film about a young boy who sets out on a mission to find the man who was responsible for killing his father in the September 11th attacks. It's a really powerful film that deals with grief, loss, and moving on. It's definitely worth a watch. Life is Beautiful. Life is Beautiful is a 1997 film about an Italian Jewish man who uses his imagination to protect his son from the horrors of World War II. It's a really heartwarming film that will make you laugh and cry at the same time. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is a 2008 film about a young German boy whose father is in charge of overseeing the killings at Auschwitz. He befriends a Jewish boy on the other side of the fence, and they share stories about their lives. It's a really powerful film that deals with innocence, ignorance, and the horrors of the Holocaust. It's definitely worth a watch. Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit is a 2019 film about a young boy in Germany during World War II who was part of the Hitler Youth. He meets a Jewish girl, and they begin to question everything they've been taught. It's a really funny and heartwarming film that deals with racism, tolerance, and acceptance. It's definitely worth a watch. Sergeant York is a 1941 film about Alvin York, a pacifist who becomes a World War I hero after killing 25 German soldiers with only a gun in his bare hands. Pork Chop Bill. Pork Chop Bill is a 1972 Australian film about a group of Aboriginal Australian soldiers who go on a mission to find a lost pig. Oh my god, that's a lot of movies. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.